Fans, welcome back for another week of the Working Fans Podcast. I'm producer Joe. AJ Strange Brew is sharing the shit out of this link on Facebook and social media, as should you. The man called Dave is just making it back, so let's add him in, throwing in his headphones.
Oh, shit.
And before we get started with today's guest, AJ, do you want to tell everybody about what we got going on next Saturday night in New Britain, Connecticut?
Guys, finally, we're going to be back in front of a live crowd in New Britain, Connecticut at the Elks Club 957. We are going with some of the best comics regionally in this area. We've got Marcelino Moose Hill. He's going to put this show together. He's the promoter.
Moose.
He's bringing in, exactly, Moose. He's bringing in Brian Barganier, who's going to headline. Myself, I'm going to host, and we are going to bring this to you 6 p.m. You come and you eat some lasagna. Then 7 o'clock, we go live with a comedy show, which is going to blow the doors off of the Elks Club. Don't miss out on this. It's going to be live and in Technicolor next Saturday night. Be there or be square, guys.
And how much are the tickets to that event?
$25. But like I said, you get a lasagna meal there at the Elks Club. So not only are you getting it, you're getting dinner and a show.
I've been thinking about lasagna all week.
That is more than Dave usually offers to Peas on a night out.
And Joe might even have a date himself that night, too.
Ooh, shit, breaking news.
Wow. I wasn't going to put the pressure on Joe like that. I was going to put that on next week's show.
It's called competitive pressure, baby. Close the deal. Get it done.
Woo.
Don't make
Now,
this look
Dave,
bad.
we're going to run a quick commercial for the other live shows over at The Buzz, which this Thursday, regularly scheduled Hostilities has hit 100 episodes. That is fucking wild. Josh DeBoard, Chuck Winchester, get it done every Thursday. Is it Wednesday already? Nah, Chuck, it's Saturday. We're doing things different over here.
Saturday morning, baby. Old school wrestling style. Remember that.
So let me run this commercial, and then Dave, introduce us to today's guest.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute is chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you all know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by your locksmith. On the block throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look, what's the top dish? Tie game, through the pressure as the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hit a shot quick.
Now, Dave, do you want to introduce our guest to everybody? Even though if you're familiar with the show, you've heard his name plenty of times.
Taking the words right out of my mouth, Joe, but that's all right. So, yes, if you listen to our show, you might hear me refer to Mikey and Fred, Mike Cadwell. He's a gentleman who listens to our show, and he's reached out, and he loves the 531, and he's gotten us list on wrestlers, comedy, and he's super helpful. And he's wrestled for about 20 years, and we're going to talk to him about that. He's wrestled as Mikey and Fred, but today he's Mike Cadwell, and he's joining the show.
Scott Michaels, Scott from Voluntown's going to love this. It's Mike Caldwell.
Yeah. I keep fucking that up. All right. Anyway. Well, I want to ask you anyway, because I haven't had a chance. I want to know about your gimmick. Like, I want to know about Mikey and Fred. I want to know about this character. I want to know how you came up with it and kind of give the people background about what it is. Because I've always seen glimpses of it, and I can't tell if you got, like, multiple personalities or maybe if this is, like, a Eugene thing, or help me out here.
Okay, well, we started the gimmick, and it was supposed to be like a concussion regression. So it started out where it was I was basically a 9-year-old in a grown man's body, and I had a nephew, and he had some social anxieties, some issues and stuff like that, and he wanted me to kind of work with his personality and stuff like that. So I based that a lot on the character.
Mm.
And it really helped him a lot because I used to bring him to the shows and stuff like that when he was still alive. And it just kind of grew from there.
Wow. All right.
I like the fact that Dave started off towards something funny and it ended up being emotionally and sincere. And wait,
We didn't know.
no,
So now,
I think that I think that's an awesome tribute.
yeah, that's
I
an
love
awesome
that.
story, man. So you put little parts of like his personality and stuff into this character, and you got to see it live. Yeah, that's like an ultimate fan's dream, kind of too, like playing his character out there. Now, so you've been in the business though for 20 years. How did you get your start?
It was right out of high school. Actually, the high school track coach was a wrestler. He was known as the Eclipse. He was 7'2", 400 pounds. You could pick him at the lineup pretty much anywhere. And he did a lot of stuff in West Texas and in Mexico. And I started talking to him about it one day, and he's like, "Yeah, you should come over here and check this out." And I ended up going to a couple of shows with him, buying tickets, and then I started training. That was kind of back. It started training in 1999, and those guys were cruel back then.
Yeah,
nothing like they do today, man. I mean, the ribs and everything else. I remember one show. It's like, all right, we're gonna be here at 1 p.m. to set up the ring. So you'd show up, and it was me and one other guy. All right, set it up. No instructions whatsoever. So we get it all together. Finally, about 3 hours later, he's like, all right, we're going to have our show. It starts at 5. It'll be 2 hours. It's like, okay, cool. Waiting. About 4:45, he says, yeah, y'all need to go over here to back to our training facility. Get the grill started. Go ahead and get us some hamburgers and stuff made. And we'll be back over there as soon as we're done. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. We get over there. We get stuff going. We're cooking the burgers and everything else. We got everything ready for them. Show ends about 7 o'clock. They show back up. We're like, all right, now we can get to eat and stuff like that. And they're like, all right, we're here now. We got this. You need to go back and tear down the ring.
Yeah.
That's but that was kind of
that's a hell of a rip.
They wanted to make sure that you were mentally prepared for it, instead of just, I don't want to be an ass, but you don't they try to baby people nowadays.
I went through a similar thing, Michael. I trained in 94, 95. And they used to do something called the Chop Factory to us, where they'd put us in the corner, and literally every veteran would get a chance to just chop the shit out of us in the corner, just to show that we could stay in there and take the chops that were freaking popular at the time. And these kids have no idea these days the difference between how they train and what we train through. Now they're in like air-conditioned gyms and learning how to take all these safe bumps, and incredible.
Mike, I noticed too, just like from talking to you, stuff like you're a pro wrestler, but like you're a super fan. Like you've been a fan for a long time. Like there's pictures with you with guys and stuff like that. Like, how did your fandom start? Like, what got you into pro wrestling?
I actually was about 9 years old. I'd walk home from school, and I'd be there kind of by myself, and I would turn on the TV and start my homework and everything else. And on ESPN, I came across World Class Wrestling.
Okay.
It just went from there. And
yeah.
A lot of us grew up on that Von Erich time period where we got to see World Class Championship Wrestling on ESPN. And what a difference it was with the rock and roll music and larger than life characters. And it was just absolutely incredible for us young kids in that time period.
I got goosebumps just talking to Ross and Marshall, just because it was like, to me, it was like the extension. I felt like, oh my God, This isn't even talking to like the Von Erich legacy at all. It's like, I love seeing those kids. And yeah, Texas wrestling, that got me personally out of a lot of like bad days when I was younger. I remember hating school and thinking, okay, world-class wrestling when I get home, though, is going to be on ESPN. That was a super
Dave's
exciting.
favorite Von Erich was Lance.
Yeah.
Isn't it wild, though, the influence that ESPN and that availability of wrestling had to everybody? Because it's like maybe in the Northeast, you got more WWF, down south, more NWA, but it seems like almost everybody we've talked to has had that ESPN wrestling as like a staple for what kind of drew them in.
Yeah, I think for our age bracket, it definitely was. But like we said, it was also some of that rock and roll music, seeing them come out to like Stranglehold and stuff of that nature, I think made a little bit larger. And a lot of the camera work and stuff like that is stuff that Vince ended up taking from World Class Championship Wrestling and using towards the WWE.
Oh, no. We lost him. I had the next question.
Nick got so emotional about it, he had to take a minute.
Itching his speech fucking.
Hey guys, this is a perfect chance though to run a quick commercial for the audio shows offered at the Buzz. When we come back, we'll see if Mike's back, and if not, we'll talk a little more wrestling.
Where's Randy Oscar?
AJ, it's funny you ask where Randy Osga is because, you know, where we might have been in his prime spot on Wednesdays, I bet this is the middle of his work day.
Oh, working the farm.
Plowing it out. Now, Mike Cadwell is back with us. So, Dave, hit him with the question you were going to start with.
Yes. So Mike contributes to our show almost on a weekly basis. I always hit him up for a list. So I thought, since you're a guest, maybe you could give us your top 5 moments in your career, people you either met, matches. I'm just curious. Maybe places you've been.
Top five moments. I actually had an ongoing feud in several states with Dusty Wolf.
Nice.
He was one of the WWE developmental guys, or not developmental, enhancement talents for a very, very, very long time. Now I got to learn a lot sitting underneath his learning tree. I got to gotten to work against all kinds of people. I got an early match in like 2001 with Paul London.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And if anybody ever has that video tape, I would love to get it. I got the tag with Eugene.
Oh, yeah.
And I got the tag with Carlito. And so the top moment was getting to be around and be so close to Fred Urban III. He was completely a huge mentor of mine. He passed away in 2018, and I wouldn't be where I am today without him.
Now, what were some of the more important things that you learned from him that you kind of incorporated into your career?
He was a businessman's businessman. I mean, he would go and work personal security for Bret Hart every WrestleMania, and he knew the business in and out. He knew how to, just networking with him and getting to be next to him and learning and taking rides with him, stuff like that. It meant a lot. I don't know how else to put it really.
Do you think you learned the most from him out of anybody in your career, or who do you think you took the most away from, like that taught you the most?
It would be a toss up between Dusty Wolf and Fred Urban for sure.
Nice. Now, what did you learn from Dusty that was particularly striking to you?
I got to whenever I started working with Dusty, I was still green, real green, and it was a. I remember the first show I met him on. We went out. I went out first match, and we did everything that we possibly could to try to get a reaction out of the crowd, and you got crickets. And he went out in the main event, and they worked a wrist lock for 15 minutes, and the place was about to erupt the entire time. So,
Wow.
it's just character enhancement and what to do and how to do it. It was that was kind of the clicking moment, and getting to be in the ring with him and listen to him and have him walk me through stuff. It was completely amazing.
You hear a lot of things too about those Southern wrestling crowds too, how it's almost a different vibe, even still, that you go to certain independents in Southern wrestling. That it's almost like, okay, they're not here to like do silly chants, not to be rude, but this like they're into it and they're following it and they're like, we're rooting for the baby faces and booing the heels. Has that been your experience?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, it's
One of the best advices that Adrian Street gave me was, he said, I see a lot of these kids and they want to put 500 moves into a wrestling match. He said, I can put 20 moves into a wrestling match as long as I put them in the right place and do them at the right time. It's going to have a lot more effect than the 500 moves that these kids are doing.
Oh, for sure.
Now, Mike, do you enjoy older product more? Do you even keep up with the new stuff? When you watch, like, what do you prefer to watch?
Right now I prefer to watch the indie products. I'm here in Texas. I've got about 4 or 5 different promotions that I kind of keep track on, and I'm a producer for about 3 of them, and just getting to watch those guys and watch them develop and the characters and everything else. I struggle. I watch Raw from time to time, and I really struggle to make it through it. I want to be able to feel it, and whenever I watch stuff like that, sometimes you have good people that have good matches and everything else, and then other times it's like, okay, if they would slow down just a little bit and sell some more, it would actually help things out tremendously.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Hey, just curious, have you gotten to keep up with any SWE Fury or any check out their product?
I know a lot of the guys in SWE Fury.
Yep.
We're actually running on the same date as they are in July for a promotion that I work for here in Lubbock, Texas, and I've known James, I've known Charlie Haas for a long time, and man, I mean I can't say anything bad about them. They're great people. They've got something special. They're bringing an old school feel to it, and I enjoyed that. I've watched a handful of the shows that they have on Fight.
Now, what are some of the promotions you work for down in Texas or work with?
Primarily, I work with Old School Wrestling out of Odessa, Texas. Rampage Wrestling in Lubbock, Squared Circle Pro in Lubbock, and BCW Pro Wrestling and in Oklahoma, which they're actually making the transition to Texas here in the next few months.
All
Nice.
right.
Can we check them out on Independent Wrestling TV at all? I think Old School Wrestling might be on there. Where can we check them out if we'd like to see any of these promotions?
I know Rampage has stuff that they usually put stuff out on their YouTube channel.
Okay.
Squared Circle Pro has a YouTube channel, but they also whenever they do events, they do live pay-per-view events.
Okay.
Now,
And, the next one they have of that is July 24th.
now, Mike, I want to give you 2 more questions, and then we're gonna let you go. I just want to know. Well, really, one of them is just, what are your goals now at this point in the business? What do you like to achieve still? And then 2, if you got anything you want to promote, hit us up. Let us know.
Yeah. My goals right now. I still enjoy wrestling, but I'm really enjoying my backstage roles a lot more. It hurts a lot less, for sure. But I enjoy getting to give my input and teach the generations to come. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm gonna have my hand in BCW's transition to Texas wrestling, so that's gonna be definitely a great experience. But yeah,
Mike, when you're producing for an independent like BCW, which obviously is transitioning to Texas Wrestling, is it hard sometimes to not try to overproduce like they do in the WWE, or does it give you more freedom to actually work with the wrestlers and actually give them a little bit more freedom in the ring? Because I think one of the biggest problems we have right now with the WWE product is the overproduction, and kind of that brings some stress to a situation that doesn't need to be that stressful.
the main points that I try to go on is times. Everybody has to be on time, especially if you're running a television program. One minute over or 1 minute under can change the entirety of a show. And so you got to be on cue with all your times. And a lot of the things I like to try to work on. I want to get the guys creative freedoms to do what they want to do, but I want to make sure that we're not duplicating a product over and over and over again. I don't have 4 matches that end with 14 super kicks.
Yeah, I wanted to give people a little bit of insight into that, because I think sometimes as fans we have a tendency of watching it and going, well, it doesn't make sense. Why would they do this, or why would they do this? And we forget sometimes that you have to have variety in a show, that you can't actually have the same finish to every match every time just because you like to finish one time that you saw.
Mike, you got anything you want to promote, bud?
Yeah, follow me on Facebook. It's Mike Caldwell. You can get to anything else I have from there. Follow BCW Wrestling on Facebook. Follow Rick Elsey. He's the mastermind for Square Circle Pro. And keep following you guys. I mean, y'all are great.
Thank you, man. We appreciate that. We appreciate your support.
Mike, don't forget, if you ever need a broadcast team, these 2 guys up here have been calling action for Renegade Wrestling, and then they were calling action now for Florida Gulf Coast Championship Wrestling. These 2 guys are top notch when it comes to calling a match.
We're a work in progress. Don't over don't over us up here, buddy.
I'm always working.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mike, thank you so much for doing the show. You always will reach out for lists, and we always reach out back for you. So, maybe we can even do some segments and stuff. I'll try to hook up with you and talk to you a little bit in the future. Maybe we can work some stuff out.
All right. Sounds like a winner. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for being on, Mike.
right.
God
Yeah,
bless.
thank
We'll
you,
be
Mike.
Thanks for
watching.
joining us.
Appreciate you.
God, it's always fun to have, somebody that's a fan of the show that kind of gives us input on the show because you get a different perspective. You just get to find out more about him, and we found out about.
The reason why I asked the question was about the production is because I think a lot of times people don't understand what it's like to actually have to produce the wrestling show, to put the time in, to get the times to work together. They see it on the independents or they just see the finished product and they don't think about what it's like. If you miss your time and you don't finish on time, you're taking match time from the main event, for Christ's sakes, or you're taking match time from another match that's on the card that there is no time for.
Yeah.
So I want to give people a little bit of that insight. So I'm glad Mike was on to answer those questions and really give a little bit of insight into what happens on the broadcast.
Jeff Jarrett talked about that recently on one of the WrestleManias. I think there was some 8-man or 10-man tag match they had scheduled, and Shawn and Razor went late in the infamous ladder match that everybody loved, and he said at that point they knew, like, well, we're not getting on this show.
Well, and a lot of times we as fans have a tendency of blaming the promotion. We're like, oh, they cut this match. We didn't get to see this match. And we don't realize that it's because some jabroni went fucking 5 minutes over on their match or
stuff just happens, I'm sure, too.
Or stuff that happens that makes it so that you can't do that.
Bischoff talked about somebody recently. I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was Regal. But he said Regal had the most crazy ability to be done exactly on time. Not a few minutes before, not a few minutes after, not even he would just be on time, on the dot. Like he knew exactly how to finish the match whenever we needed it to be.
Well, to be honest with you, comedy's the same thing. When we do this show on the 12th, you're talking about people having to hit their marks. You give a comic a certain amount of time to work. And if you get somebody who's holding the show hostage, who all of a sudden is trying to do 15 minutes instead of 10 minutes or something like that.
We looking at you, Moose.
The crowd might love it, but you're costing the headliner or you're costing the other people on the show, and you don't want to take away that time. And it works the same way.
Yeah.
And if that time's coming out of anybody's ass, we will be getting that on film. You're going to see the dirt behind the scenes. You're going to see AJ getting cursed out for using that pussy bit that you guys kicked off the live podcast.
That's right.
Keep in mind, when you come to see a show, you're not going to see happy smiling. You're going to see me insulting people. If you're sensitive, by all means, stay home.
All right.
In the back, so I'm not even a target. Because you guys said you're hitting marks. I didn't know you'd be getting at us.
I will be there for the pre-show interviews. Do not worry.
Now, guys, we're going to be kind of doing a new thing with the Saturday show. We will still be talking wrestling, but we're going to
mix it up.
I think we'd like to mix in some guests, some comedy talk, just do a little something different because, with the job change, kind of switching things up, it's almost a nice new start for the podcast. And we hope you still watch us. We'll be giving you a half hour of our best.
That's right. And I mean, AJ says that to his wife, but try.
It's not the usual 3 minutes Dave promises.
Hey, I'm honest. I let him know right up front. This ain't about you.
He's got places to be.
I got places to be. It's gonna be quick. All right.
That bread ain't gonna deliver itself.
I gotta be up in the morning, girl. Anyway, but yeah, I was gonna say that basically. It's exciting. I'm totally out of my game now. It'll be fun. Do some
the key
new
to
stuff.
it is we're going to bring so much to the plate here, guys. We're going to have fun. We're going to make it entertaining. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Tune in. Be a part of it. Don't ever stop being a part of it. Check us out on Twitter, YouTube. Leave us messages. Talk to us. Tell us what you like, what you don't like.
Oh, yeah.
That's
You got all the addresses at the bottom there.
Absolutely. Thank God, because I'm not going to remember them.
Dave's MMA segment might be coming up soon, too. So
and speaking of bringing it to the plate, that's a $25 lasagna dinner and comedy show. Comedy starts at
Comedy starts at 7, dinner at 6.
There you go.
You'll be
Come
home
get yourself some lasagna.
about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Don't miss your
Dave's
mark.
going to be up a little later with that UFC, but guys.
I'm studying for my MMA podcast, baby. It's coming out. Working Fans MMA edition. Be ready.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.
Where you at?